An overwhelming majority of Republican primary voters, more than 70%, now say they favor a candidate with no prior political experience, an outsider, to be president. Please discuss.
I just think people want someone different. So if that happens to be an outsider, then fine. They just want someone who will shake it up a little bit and not seem like they're a puppet.
We're stagnant, and we're not getting things done.
So
and
you
I
like the idea of shaking it up?
I like the idea of shaking. I like the idea of a businessman.
The fact is that once they're in the political system, and I don't know if it's going to be any easier for them.
You can't stay an outsider forever.
Right.
I hope it doesn't happen. I certainly wouldn't take an intern to do heart surgery.
People have to be willing to compromise and understand the value of half a loaf.
And I take it you're not seeing Trump, Carson, or Fiorina as compromisers, capable of bringing people together?
I see them as opportunists.
When it gets to crunch time, the numbers will shift.
Crunch time's only 3 months in Iowa.
Yeah,
You still see an establishment person doing it.
absolutely.
We've hit the launch point for this morning's OTR, political roundtable conversation, and our analysts this week are Democrat Marianne Marsh and Republican Ginny Buckingham is with us. And let me just give you just a little warning here. As we went to break, we asked the mayor to go ahead and guess how many candies were in that jar. I'm going to tell you what the mayor said at the end of the show.
So you got to hang in here.
So hang in there for that, but go ahead.
Okay, so it was a rock and roll debate. Two things the 10 Republican presidential candidates agreed on, that they hate the media and they don't really like Hillary Clinton at all. Take a listen.
And yet the mainstream media is going around saying it was the greatest week in Hillary Clinton's campaign. It was the week she got exposed as a liar.
This is not a cage match. And you look at the questions. Donald Trump, are you a comic book villain? Ben Carson, can you do math? John Kasich, will you insult two people over here? Marco Rubio, why don't you resign?
So what was the takeaway for the Republican leading voter? Did they hear their differences on taxes, education, immigration at all?
Well, first of all, Democrats and Republicans can agree that those were the worst moderators in any debate ever. So hate the media or not, they were just awful. You know, I think the Republican candidates, for all their flaws in debating, have shown a real difference in their approach to governing, and that's what this ultimately is going to come down to. What size of government do you want? What approach to national defense do you want? And I think voters are starting to see that come through.
Is Ginny right about that, Marianne?
No, sadly. I mean, look, it's a cheap, easy shot, especially as a Republican, to hit the media. That wins every time. But this debate was about, and what voters want to hear is, how are you going to create more jobs? What are you going to do for the economy? How are we going to get more people back to work at better wages? All you heard from these guys on the rare occasions when they did talk about that topic was, here's my tax plan to cut taxes amongst the wealthiest, and oh yeah, it'll leave another $1 or $2 trillion deficit, but that's what Republicans do. That's all you heard.
Is Jeb Bush a goner, Marianne?
So last night was Halloween, and he went as himself, the zombie in the apocalypse. Jeb Bush is dead. That debate ended it. He not only had to show up, he had to show up big, and he didn't. Marco Rubio landed the knockout punch. I don't think he makes it to Iowa.
He says he's, what does he say? He's a doer, not a talker.
And he's
right?
a happy tortoise. So
and he's a happy tortoise.
That's probably what he went for last night for Halloween. But take a deep breath. It's 3+ months away before any vote is cast in this election. Think back to John McCain's race several years back in the summer. Everyone said he was dead. He had to cut his staff. He had to, you know, retool completely his campaign, fire everybody. It's the same thing. This happens.
Herman Cain was at the top of the polls
Yes,
at the end of October 4 years ago.
That's right.
Well, so
if
Bush is where he is, let me go to the other side. Was this Marco Rubio's breakout moment? And do you think, can you predict what happens to Trump and Carson now in the middle of all this?
Look, Marco made a mark, and he made it on Jeb Bush's chin, okay, and Jeb Bush took it. He will get a lift out of this, but I don't see him really doing any better. I mean, where does he win? He's not going to win Iowa. He probably doesn't win New Hampshire. He might get some more money from Jeb and a few more votes, but not much.
What about Carson and Trump? What happens to them at this point, Ginny?
So the best line of the whole debate was Ben Carson saying his weakness was he never pictured himself as president. That's fantastic. I mean, people like the guy. He's probably going to win Iowa. He's not going to go farther than that. Donald Trump was strangely quiet, but maybe that's a good thing because voters can say, all right, maybe he's not
until
a crazy
it was over, and then he
actor.
insisted that he won the debate.
But that was smart. He said it was going to be a terrible debate. He was right, and he only spoke when he needed to, and he hit it. I mean, I think he played it perfectly.
I would guess they're going to change the rules going forward because it clearly doesn't work to have that many people on on stage.
Let's switch the conversation over to the Democrats. Hillary Clinton is moving with more confidence in New Hampshire. She's ignoring Bernie Sanders, and she's really training her focus on Republicans. Let's take a listen.
And although my Republican friends don't like it when I say it, you are 4 times more likely to end up in a recession under a Republican president.
Does that argument work, Ginny?
I think it's a big mistake for her to switch too soon to the center. I think that we have to think back to her last race against Obama. She was leading by over 20 points at this point, and then look what happened with President Obama. To underestimate what Bernie Sanders has done is a big mistake.
Is it an argument that works, do you think, Ginny? I mean, Marianne, sorry.
It does, but she's not underestimating Bernie Sanders. Nobody is. It's going to be a very competitive primary in Iowa, the caucuses, and New Hampshire. But the vast majority of voters in New Hampshire are independents. So most of the Democratic voters are already spoken for. Between Clinton and Sanders, she's going after the independents not only to win that primary, but to hold on to them in a general election, because that's a toss-up state. It's going to be tough. That's 4 electoral votes. That could be the whole election.
A quick yes, no. Marty Walsh said this morning there's nothing he can do about the deal with the Red Sox and the BRA. Should he try?
Yes, he can. Percentage of all the sales and goes to the city of Boston.
Should he try?
No, they saved Fenway Park. That's what this was all about.
We continue on the record.